How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Manatee Gaming. So this is a brand new episode of the Flip for Wealth series. A lot of you probably thought that the Flip for Wealth series was over, but it's not. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking a little bit of a turn in this series. I thought about starting a brand new series for this, but I actually just want to keep it all in the same one and just have a longer series of videos for the flipping. That way it's easier for people to find on the channel, and then also you guys can just continue the playlist along and then be able to watch all the videos at once. So to keep it simple and everything and make sure it's working for everybody, I'm going to go ahead and keep it in the Flip for Wealth series. But just to let you know, guys, this is the first video of the videos that is more of a like intermediate to higher level of flipping. So in the previous videos, we've covered things such as how to price check, how to check the volume of items, and other things like that. So I highly encourage you that if you've not watched the other videos for the Flip for Wealth, I would definitely go watch them first before watching this video. Anyway, I'm going to go and jump right into it now. This is a video about how to price your items to sell quicker or to buy quicker. So now let's go ahead and hop into it. So as you see right here on the screen, guys, I've got a inventory of some of the more common items that people will flip as far as weapons. I've also got an example of a long-term investment. This is actually one of my personal long-term investments that I'm working on in this account. And so I'm going to show you guys how you guys can handle your long-term investments, like how pricing them could affect those, and so on. And then I've also got a little bit of gold here. That way I can show you guys some examples of some buying. And we've also got the money signs raining behind me because it's Flip for Wealth. We're here to make money. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side here, and we're going to go hop in the Grand Exchange. Now, with these different items here, these are some different items that people will flip with higher amounts of cash. Obviously, these Drygores right here, you can flip with a little bit less cash because they're not quite as expensive. I'm going to click on this Drygore here, and we get this price up here. Now, let's say, for example, that I was wanting to sell this Drygore for... Now, obviously, you guys may not know the price of what you should sell this Drygore for right now. And let's say you don't know what to sell a Drygore for right now. The first thing you're going to want to start with is checking the forums and everything. Make sure that you can, get a good idea of the price of this item. Also looking at different friend chats in the game that will also PC items like this. Now, keep in mind, though, there's a lot of items in the game that are not PC'd by people, such as uncut diamonds. Those are not PC'd by anybody. So finding prices for things could be difficult at times. If you're a member of the Patreon and everything, then finding prices for stuff like this is extremely easy because I cover all these and I give the prices for all these. So very, very easy. Let's go ahead and act like we're going to be doing it for 23 million. So if you're unaware, you guys, you can actually type in the M, and then that'll save you a lot of time as far as typing in the price. So you just simply type 23M if you want to sell this for 23 million, hit the enter key, and it's going to turn that into 23 million for you. So with this at 23 million, that is seemingly a good price, right? So if we click confirm offer, we throw that Drygore longsword up there, and now it's sitting up there for 23 million. Now, the only thing is with this right here is that 23 million is a very flat price. A lot of people who are assuming to flip their item in here for this price of 23 million might just put literally 23 million. What I would encourage you to do instead would be do something like this. And that would be to type in the 23 million. After you have the 23 million in, just take off a little bit of GP, and there you go. So now you got 22,999,985. Now let me show you something else real quick too. Let's say I just take off 1 GP. That's a strategy that a lot of people would probably do, honestly, is just take off 1 GP. So you got this nice clean looking number still of 22,999,999. It is 1 GP below the 23 million. Essentially, guys, with both of these offers in the Grand Exchange here, the one that's going to end up selling first is going to be this Drygore longsword. When you're doing other stuff, I'm gonna get for price updates for those two. I'm gonna show you guys the price for like doing the bulk items, but this kind of goes along a little bit more along with aligns with these bigger items like this. So stay with me for these here in a minute. So Drygore longswords. 22,999,999. If you have both these offers in here, this one's going to sell first. So obviously pricing your thing at a flat 23 million is not usually a great price. you can tell that a lot of people don't put prices in there like that when you instantly buy an item, because when you instantly buy an item, when you're trying to learn how to flip it, or not really learn how to flip it, but trying to flip it to try to find the price, you'll often notice that the price is almost never flat. It's never, you hardly ever buy it for 21 million flat, or, so it's usually like 21 million and some change, or like just below 21 million if you're the one buying it. So putting the price at this is really honestly just asking for the item to sell a lot slower. So putting like this is definitely an improvement. Taking off 1 GP will definitely, essentially what you're going to do, guys, is you're going to be undercutting all the people that would be putting it at this price. Now, keep in mind, this price will probably still sell. You don't have to undercut people and everything. But the thing is, though, is when you're trying to move quickly, like let's say you've got one account and you want to flip 50 different items within a 4-hour period. That's a lot of time, because you have to wait for them to buy, you got to wait for them to sell, blah, blah, blah. So if you're wanting to accomplish all that in the 1 4-hour period, I highly recommend you try all the strategies you can. Now, what I would recommend doing, now this is what I also personally do, and I find great success with it, and I've actually knowingly made my sale go faster than some other people who are literally like, you undercut me by 1,000 GP. What? How'd you do that? Or, whatever. So what I do is this. So we got this last Drygor longsword right here. We start off at 23 million. What I often do is I do this. I would do 22 million 997 or 997 656 or 666. There we go. So I would do like 22 997 666. It's still pretty much 23 million. It's only about 3,334 gold lower than 23 million. Still essentially the same price. Like I'm still essentially getting 23 million when I sell that. So it's not really much of a loss for me. But the thing is, though, is not very many people are going to put this random number in here. Like 22 997 666. I mean, most people are going to do 22 999 555 or 22 998 999. So you're gonna make your sale go so much faster by being creative with it like this. Now, let me show you the bad way of doing this. So you've obviously got a pretty acceptable answer right there of cutting off a couple thousand GP. So the people that do it the wrong way. So here's an example of the wrong way. So let's say you're wanting to sell this Drygor longsword for 23 million. Now you take this Drygor longsword and let's say it is you're the bad guy and you're doing it the wrong way. You might do something like this. You might do 23 million 919 333. Okay, so the reason why this is not correct is this. Okay, the only way that this would be correct is if you know that it's just never selling at, oh whoops, I just realized I put it 24 million. 23 919 333. Okay. So the only time this would be good is if you know that it's just never selling at 23 million flat, like no one has been selling it for 23 million flat. It's sat there all day at 23 million flat, then maybe drop off this much. But if you don't know that and you're trying to sell it at 23 million, but you're just trying to put a price in there that is going to undercut other people, to go a little bit quicker, dropping it by this much is not good. Because essentially what you're going to do, guys, is kill the margin. That's what you're going to do. You're going to shorten the margin and hurt the item and make it so that everyone, including yourself, is going to make less money on this item potentially. If there's still a whole bunch of demand for this item, then yeah, it'll continue rising or whatever. But this can potentially hurt your margin. It's not what you want to do, and I'm not saying to cut it by this much. This is 81,000 gold off. That is a lot of money. Like, if you do 10 flips like this, you've lost 810,000 gold. If you do 100 flips like this, you've lost over 8 million gold. So that's really not worth doing. So highly recommend you don't do stuff like that. So that is pretty much how it goes for the sales. If you've got like something like a seismic wand in here, now look at this seismic wand. Here's another great example. Seismic wand currently is 126,035,867 for the mid price. Now, you've learned from the other videos, guys, that the mid price doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's a good guide, you know, because a lot of times things are a little bit above the mid, or sometimes they're a little bit below the mid. Sometimes they just ride the mid, and it's not really, it's usually the really low volume items that do that, like a codex or something like that might do that, or sometimes Nex armors might do that, where they have just a lot of really low volume and they're not traded very often. You'll get them where you can literally buy them below and sell them above. Drygores also do that because they are actually fairly low volume. Not very many people do KK anymore, and not a lot of people sell these once they have them. So I mean, Drygore Rapier offhand is pretty rare, actually, because most people don't sell them. So those types of items could be a little bit above and a little bit below at the same time. But anyway, stuff like these other things, were the more common things like Noxes and stuff, they're traded frequently, typically are just all above or all below. So let's say you know that Seismic Wand is below, which currently right now it is below. So 126,035,867 is the mid price. Now what you could do, guys, is you could be like, okay, I'm gonna take off a little bit of GP. I got one right there, boom, and then put in there for sale. This is not a bad strategy. It's not a bad strategy. But here's the thing: knowing how people flip in RuneScape, this is essentially written out as a buy price. 126,035,867 would be an example of somebody's buy price. I mean, it would be way too high because they're going 35,000 above 126 million, but it's essentially a buy price because it is them like going over the main numbers. So it's essentially, think about it this way: 126 million flat, and they're adding some gold to hopefully buy it quicker. This is written out as a buy price. So what you want to do in a situation like this, now you don't have to, you can totally just leave the price just like this and it might sell. But people, when they flip, they like to put a sell price. And a sell price example would be something like this: 126 million, boom, take off a few GP, and there you go. Now, that is more of an example of a sell price where you are below the 126 and you got it like that. Most people who flip these Seismic Wands right now are probably going to be using prices like this. I actually know the price for the Seismic Wand right now, so I know they're not going to be putting this in there. But in an example, if it was selling close to mid, then people would put a price like this right here. So you want to kind of match that as well. You're going to be taking a 35,000 gold hit on something like this, so I would recommend that, you know, maybe you try out this price first. But if it's sat there for like an hour and you're like, okay, nothing is sold, then don't drop it by a whole lot after it hasn't sold. Just drop it by something like this. Make it a more appealing price that still competes with other people that are flipping. You got to remember, guys, that when you are flipping items, you're competing with a lot of other people that are also flipping those same items. So you need to have them competitive and think about the other person. I almost said the opponent, which I guess that kind of makes sense too. Okay. Next thing, guys, is going to be the buy price. And this is going to be pretty short because the fact that, well, we've kind of already covered the buy price. So let's go into a Nox staff. So we got Nox staff right here. See this price right here, 143,862,678. This is already essentially what you would call like in like a buy format, because it's 143.8 and this is a little bit above. What you could do, honestly, is just go like this and then hit 1 for the quantity and then buy. What I would not recommend doing in a situation like this one is I wouldn't recommend, so look at this Nox staff, I wouldn't recommend just hitting enter right here and leaving it at exactly the mid price. If you're going to be trying to buy something at mid, guys, I would definitely try to increase it by at least a few GP to go a little bit above mid in order to buy a lot quicker, because a lot of other people flipping are going to be a little bit impatient and they're going to be buying it slightly above. Now, what you could do, and this is up to you, and potentially you could end up losing, you know, some possible profit, would be to like increase the price to like, you know, okay, so 143,862,688. You could do something like 143,900. So, you know, just go up, round it up to the next one, like 143,900,003 GP or whatever. So you could do something like that as well. You potentially run the thing, you run the potential of not making the full profit there, though, because you could have bought it at mid. So I would at least try buying it at mid once again in that situation. Now, that is pretty much it for these right here. Another item is, I can just type this in real quick. So A really big item in the game is like a Staff of Sliske, or another item in the game would be like a Saren God Bow. Like these are bigger items that you can buy in the Grand Exchange still. Let's say you're going to buy this item for 900 million. Now, obviously, that price is not real, so don't go do this. Don't go do any of these prices I'm showing you because they're just examples. 900 million gold. I'm just going to put that offer in the Grand Exchange right now. Here's the thing when flipping an item like this big. Going by like a few GP is not really effective on items like Saren God Bow, Zeros God Sword, and Staff of Sliske, or really anything else that's like that big. Going a few GP above is often not really great because a lot of people will put in prices that look more like this. So if 900 million was the price, they might do something like 900 million 022 blah 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 blah. They might do something like that. You probably noticed this if you've ever put in a big item and like slapped it in there. Then you know that you get prices like this. Now, is it breaking our first rule that I showed you, where it's like, you know, don't overcut it by too much if you're trying to get an increased buy? Yeah, it is. But the thing is, though, is with tier 92 guys, a lot of people do this. Now, you could just be extra patient, but flipping tier 92s is quite a bit different than flipping tier 90s. And the reason why is because there's so many less tier 92s in the game than there are tier 90s. I mean, like on my accounts, I try to flip like somewhere between 10 and 20 of each one of the tier 92s a day. And it's sometimes very hard to get buys on the tier 92s because of the fact there's just not that many of them. So with that in mind, you know, throwing a more competitive offer up there at a hope to snag that extra one is pretty much worth it on tier 92s. And the reason why that is because simply put this way. On tier 92s, you can make margins of anywhere from 5 million on like the low, like you probably went way too low, all the way up to like 50 to 60 million in margin. Like the only way you're going to get more than the only way you're getting more than 50 million margin on any of the tier 92s is if the price is like going up or going down. Like then you could probably snag a deal, but otherwise they do stick somewhere between, on average they go anywhere from 5 to 20 million is like your average for the tier 92s. But yeah, obviously, you know, you can get margins outside of that. But the point is, if you go for like an hour of not buying one where you could have bought one, then you're missing out on 20 million GP potentially, or, you know, possibly more, or maybe 5 million, 10 million, whatever. The 22,000 is a lot less relevant in this situation. In the tier 90s, as we showed, you know, these guys have margins of anywhere from 1 million to like 4 or 5 million. So, you know, I don't know. It's just, that's just kind of how the game goes for tier 92s and flipping, is that, you know, don't be afraid to add a little bit more GP. Just don't go ridiculous. Don't add like 300,000 gold on top of it if there's no reason to do that. Like that's too much. All right, guys. So this next one here, I'm going to show you guys how to handle long-term investment prices. We're going to go ahead and go into that. So 18 minutes on this video. Thank you so much if you're actually watching the entire video. You know, once again, hey, you know, just for good old times, you can put like, I'm a superstar in the comments below. We did that a long time ago where I was like, okay, yeah, you're like a superstar if you actually watch this entire video. So anyway, guys, put that in the comments below if you watch this whole video all the way to this point, and let's continue on. So uncut diamonds. Now, let's say that let's start off with saying you need to start stocking up uncut diamonds. Let's say you don't have any, right? So we're going to buy some uncut diamonds. So uncut diamond. Boom. Okay, so the first smart thing to do would be looking at this price. You know, if I'm going for long term, now, like, okay, so this is more of like we're covering flipping right now. We're not really covering investing, but this definitely gets a little bit more into investing. But I want to show you this, guys, because you can use this technique for short-term flips for your stuff as well. So, you know, like you can buy in the morning, sell in the evening kind of thing if you want to like get a couple buy limits of some uncut diamonds or other items. You don't have to do uncut diamonds. Keep in mind, the reason why I have all these uncut diamonds is because I have a plan for them, and I also kind of want to get some more crafting experience. So that's the reason why I have them. If you don't want crafting experience on uncut diamonds, probably don't buy these. But you know, the first thing you want to do is look at the graphs. If you notice that the price dips down a little bit, you know, like to 3,700 at some times, 3,600 at some times, you know, maybe even lower, whatever. You're going to want to start your price somewhere around where it dips down to, and that could be 3,700. Now keep in mind, guys, that uncut diamonds, as an example here, have a buy limit of 1,000. Now what that tells me is that the margins are going to be bigger. Typically, this is not always, but typically on items in RuneScape that have a smaller buy limit but have a pretty good demand, the price will range pretty dramatically. So what we could do is put this offer in for 1,000 uncut diamonds at 3,700. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now, keep in mind, I just threw this number in at 3,700. You could try lower than that. It really depends on what you see on the graph. If you saw they were recently 3,600, 3,500, or whatever, which they were, hint hint, then you could put in 3,500 and start there. If you don't get any buys within like an hour or something like that, then you can change it. If you're doing an overnight flip, then you're basically gonna have to wait overnight and see how it goes. But the good thing is eventually you're going to get some buys, and you're going to understand what the low point is to buy these at and what the high point is to buy these at. If you guys have watched the entire Flip for Wealth series up to this point, then you saw the part of the series where it was talking about accidental investment flips. This actually covers kind of along with that. You could do that. So it's like, okay, maybe I do want some diamonds for some crafting experience. So if I want diamonds for some crafting experience, then what I could do is drink coffee. Now what I could do is start stocking these up for my crafting, but then end up selling them later if I get a good price for them. Like, for example, if I take these things right now, and okay, so here that's just money. That's not actually diamonds. So let's say I have these diamonds right here. At mid price, they're worth $1,121,000,000. So if I put them in there for $44.99, okay, so let's just act like I bought them at $38.54. If I threw them in there at $44.99, boom, that's was it 180 million? That's like roughly 180 million profit. So I could be like, yeah, sure, boom, take it. And then, you know, if these were actually slowly selling overnight for this price, then I would be like, yeah, sure, why not? And if they don't sell, then I use them for my own crafting. So that kind of goes along with the accidental investment type thing. It's always a decent idea to just be like, you know, I got these uncut diamonds sitting in my bank and I don't really have anything to do with them, so I'll just throw them in there and then see if they sell. Sure, why not? But going back to this right here, now we'll go ahead and stay with the theme of the video, and that's putting the right prices. So if you decided that your buy price on your item is this, so once again, you don't need to buy uncut diamonds. It's just an example, literally. But if I had 3,700 as my goal price, what I might do is something like this. I might do uncut diamond 3703. I might buy them at this price. Now, the reason why I might buy them at this price, I'm going to see if they actually buy. The reason why I might buy them at this price is because a lot of people are going to offer 3,700. And then the people that are a little bit smarter are going to list, that's kind of mean to say smarter, but a little bit more experience with this might put in 3,701. Now, you can beat out a lot of people by just adding a couple more GP. Now, a couple more GP in the end game doesn't really matter a whole lot, unless you're stocking up this many of them. As you see, there's nearly 300,000 diamonds here, which means that every single 1 gold that you buy them for is this much of a loss. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Think about how many you're going to buy total. Take that number times however much you're adding to this to make a more competitive offer. And that's kind of another reason, guys, why you don't want to, I'm not telling you to overcut the price by a lot. Like if your goal is to buy uncut diamonds for 3,700, then don't be like 3,713. Because it's way too much. It's way too much. You guys are losing 13 times 300,000. Now, obviously, you might not be buying 300,000 diamonds, but if you are buying 300,000 of whatever you're buying, then take the total number of what you're buying times how much you're spending over, and that'll tell you if it's smart to be offering this kind of price. This is quite a bit of money that ends up being like almost 4 million gold. So simply adding 13 GP to my buy offer is making me lose potentially 4 million gold on these right here by the time I'm done. So as you can see, guys, it makes a huge difference. So when I say to make a competitive offer, I mean to do something like 3702 or 3703 maybe. Oops, I don't know why it did that, but oh, because I didn't hit enter, that's why. 3703 or 3702, you know, stay in this range. I mean, maybe if you really want to be, if you have to do it, then maybe that, but that's even that's a little bit much, you know. So keep it right here. I would just avoid doing a flat, and I would avoid doing an 01, because a flat and an 01, everybody does that. So you want to beat those people. Add a 2 or a 3, you know, be original. So anyway, guys, oh, look at that, they bought. Oh, I literally just proved my point. So that's actually convenient. Okay, I did not know these were going to buy for 3,703, but cool. Now I'm going to add more diamonds to my collection. Here's the thing. I just had that offer for 3,700 in there for a lot longer than I had it, and then I had this offer for 3,703 in here. So as you can see, I literally just bought these by putting 3,703 instead of 3,700. You see how much quicker those bought? Now, most likely the reason why is because, and it's not because diamonds are 3,703 today and not 3,700. It's because other people were probably offering 3,700 or 3,701. It literally just happened. See, right there, like, boom, I can't give you better proof. So, and there, some more bought right there. So that's the reason why, guys, you want to stick to more competitive prices, because competitive prices are going to give you the edge. But what I'm not telling you to do is to be ridiculous and kill margins, and also not telling you to, like, you know, lose a bunch of money at the end. If you're flipping with a group, like in our Flip Mastery on the Patreon, we flip as a group in a lot of the chats. If you're doing stuff like that, don't keep climbing up and up and up and up in price. They're either going to buy at 3,700 or they're not. So if it's like 3,701 and none of them are buying, 3,702 none of them are buying, 3,703 none of them are buying. Or okay, actually, step back for just a second. Let's say some of them were buying and they stopped buying. Then you increased it by 1 GP and they started buying again. What's happening is you're just continuously overcutting another guy who is buying them. And in all honesty, if you continue doing that, you're both going to completely kill the margin. So I highly recommend what you do is just stop at your point that makes sense. Like, look, they stopped buying for a minute right there, but now they just finished buying. So I just successfully bought them over a little bit of time right there. That's what'll happen if you're competing with somebody else. Because think about it. Say okay, so when I put in 3,700, right? They weren't buying right away. You know, they definitely bought quicker at 3,703, which means that let's say another guy was paying 3,701. That's why I couldn't buy 3,700. Now, if he's successfully buying them, then when he stops buying them, I'll most likely be next in line to buy them also. Now that I bumped up to 3,703 though, I continued buying them. And then now that I'm done buying them, that guy might have gone back to buying them again. So for him, they might have like stopped buying for like a couple minutes while mine were filling up. But now that my buy limit is gone, he might be buying them again. So keep those kind of things in mind, guys. That it's literally like it's like you're waiting in line for something. It's not like your price is necessarily wrong. You just need to be extra patient sometimes. And if you have a problem with being patient with some of this stuff, which trust me, everyone gets that sometimes. Like even I do, where I'm like, these seismic wands aren't selling. It's only been 15 minutes. Something ridiculous where you're like, oh man, I just can't handle it. Then like, turn off the computer and go for a walk or something else where you are not tempted to take the price out, because if you take the price out, that might not be a good thing. You'll lose a bunch of money. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching this series. The Flip for Wealth series has been one of the more successful series on my channel. And what that means to me is that it really helps people. So I want to continue making helpful videos for you guys. So if you guys enjoyed the Flip for Wealth series so far, if you enjoyed this video, then please let me know. And here, we'll go ahead and change this to the flappy money. Woo, flappy money. So hopefully you guys are going to get all this flappy money on your game on your own too. I hope I can help you get there. Please leave a comment below if you guys enjoyed it, or maybe other questions you have about flipping, so I can think about what new videos for this series. And hit the like button if you enjoyed it. The like button actually makes a huge difference because that helps it get shared to other people. And then hit subscribe if you're not a subscriber, if you want to, obviously. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's been great. See you guys later.